Greetings, friends. Welcome to another video on hell. A look at the underworld in literature. We're in the Mesopotamian section of this, and in the last video, 1.4, we looked at the descent of Inanna to the underworld. Now we're going to look at the descent of Ishtar. In the descent of Inanna, we discussed how that text was more conclusive and will give us insight when we get into the descent of Ishtar. This is the descent of Ishtar is a Akkadian story, which was first seen in it shows up in the late Bronze Age in Babylonia and Assyria, and also was excavated from the Palace Library in Nineveh, which is pretty interesting. You can run a search on that. That find was huge. At the end of this are instructions, ritual instructions, for the celebration of Dumuzi or Tammuz, which is lands in about June, July, and it features the bathing and anointing and lighting a stay in Nineveh of the statue of Dumuzi or Tammuz. So here these statues were moved from one city to another, for a certain period, because the statues weren't the gods themselves, but representations. As we've seen in the vision of Enkidu, statue is made of the dead, funeral rites, but also of these deities. The statues here, for ritual purposes, were moved around. So we're going to look at this, and we're going to be comparing it to the descent of Inanna, as we look into this more abbreviated Babylonian text of Ishtar. This is one of the most famous, but not most conclusive. See how some things changed. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read the important sections. The text will be in the details section, so please check that out and look that over when you get time. But we're interested in what is hell according to Babylonia, Sumerian, and Mesopotamia, and we're seeing that. So here at the beginning, this is out of Stephanie Daly's book, Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, the Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. It's an excellent book. So starting line 1, 2, Kernunji, the land of no return, Ishtar, daughter of Sin, or the moon god, was determined to go. The daughter of Sin was determined to go to the dark house, to the dwelling of Raquel's god, to the house which those who enter cannot leave, on the road where traveling is one way only, to the house where those who enter are deprived of light, where dust is their food, clay is their bread. They see no light, they dwell in darkness, and they are clothed like birds with feathers. Over the door in the bolt dust has settled. Ishtar, when she arrived at the gate of Kernunji, addressed her words to the gatekeeper. Here, gatekeeper, open your gate for me. Open your gate for me to come in. If you do not open the gate for me to come in, I shall smash the door and shatter the bolt. I shall smash the doorpost, and overturn the doors. I shall raise up the dead, and they shall eat the living. The dead shall outnumber the living. So this is pretty interesting, because here she's threatening the gatekeeper. And she says, as we read, let me in or I'll smash the doors. The living will outnumber the dead. The living will eat the dead. And this is pretty interesting, because also we have a goddess threatening a deity in Canaanite literature. Anna threatens the head god El when she asks for a temple to be built. Also, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Ishtar almost says the same thing. When Gilgamesh blows her off, doesn't want to marry her, she gets mad. She goes to the head deity and says, hey, send the bull of heaven after Gilgamesh and Enkidu because they shunned me. And the god said no way, and she makes this threat. So the deity sends the bull of heaven after him. So here, again, we see feathers, they're eating dust, no light, and the way is only one way. So the gatekeeper says, don't break the door down, let me go get Ishtar. And here it's interesting, because we've seen Inanna have the divine powers, or Mies, but here she's carrying Kaputoi, which may be like a top, and so that's pretty interesting. So Ishtar, she wants to know why Ishtar's out there. What brings her to me? What has incited her against me? She says, surely not because I drink water with the Anunnaki. I eat clay for bread. I drink muddy water for beer. I have to weep for young women forced to abandon sweethearts. I have to weep for girls wrenched from their lovers' laps. For the infant child I have to weep, expelled before its time. Go, gatekeeper, open your gate to her. Treat her according to the ancient rites. This is a little bit overview of what Ishtar's task was, as we just read. So she allows Ishtar to come in, and just like in Inanna, the gatekeeper opens the first door. They start taking things away from her, all the way down to the seventh door. And this is interesting. He let her through the seventh door, but stripped off and took away the proud garment of her body. Gatekeeper, why have you taken away the proud garment of my body? Go in, my lady, such are the rights of the mistress of earth, or Ishtar. As soon as Ishtar went down in Kernunji, Ishtar looked at her and trembled before her. Ishtar did not deliberate, leant over her. Ishtar made her voice heard and spoke, addressed her words to Namtar, her visor. Go, Namtar, some things are missing here. Send out against her 60 diseases. The 60 diseases go to her eyes, arms, feet, basically her whole body. She ends up turning into a corpse. So all the while, Ishtar, who is the goddess of fertility, is in the underworld. Here we see that basically fertility stops. After Ishtar, the mistress, had gone down to Kernunji, no bull mounted a cow. No young man impregnated a girl. The young man slept in his private room. The girl slept in the company of her friends. So here we see fertility stops, and the god he's worried about it. So here he creates a androgynous being, neither sex, and says, go down to the underworld and release Ishtar. And when Ishtar asks you these things, she wants to give you these things, ask her for the waters of life only. So he does. He goes down and gives her asks for the water of life from Ishtar, and Ishtar made her voice heard and spoke. She addressed her words to Namtar, visor. Go, Namtar, knock at Engalina. Decorate the threshold steps with coral. Bring in the Anunnaki out and seat them on the golden thrones. Sprinkle Ishtar with the waters of life and conduct her into my presence. Resurrect her. She's before the underworld judges, the Anunnaki. Namtar went, knocked at Egalina, decorated thresholds steps with coral. So he does what he's told, sprinkles Ishtar, and brought her to her sister. She's allowed to leave. As she passes through the gates, all 7 of them, she gets everything back. And here they make her swear. So we see like the demons was attached to her. Swear that she has paid you her ransom and give her back in exchange for him. For Dumuzi, the lover of her youth. Wash him with pure water, anoint him with sweet oil, clothe him in a red robe, and let lapis lazuli pipe play. Let party girls raise loud laments. Then Bailey tore off her jewelry. This is the sister of Dumuzi, who laments him when he's taken to the underworld. Her lap was filled with ice stones. Belule heard the lament of her brother. She struck the jewelry from her body, the ear stones with which the front of the wild cow has filled. You shall not rob me forever of my only brother. On the day when Dumuzi comes up, and the lapis lazuli pipe and the carnelian ring come up with him, when male and female mourners come up with him, the dead shall come up and smell the smoke of the offerings. So, here in this text, we have the same thing happening. We see the judges, the Inanna. We see demands being placed on Ishtar as she leaves for a ransom. If she does not pay it, does not send anybody in her place, she will be taken back. Here we had a resurrection. The water of life is sprinkled on her by a deity, androgynous deity, created by and as she returned, fertility again started to occur. So in our next lecture, we're going to look at two epics. We're going to look at the epic of Nergal and Ereshkigal, a hero kind of like Achilles, Gilgamesh, Hercules. He goes to the underworld and actually takes over the underworld. Here, Ereshkigal, the idea of it is kind of like the story of Persephone, where fertility for one half the year is substituted, death the other half. So, also, we're going to see how, when we get to the Canaanite literature, how fertility stops when Baal enters the underworld from doing war with the god of death, Mot. So, we're going to look at, in the next video, the Nergal and Ereshkigal. Then we're going to look at Ishtar and Izdubar. Both of those epics are very important, especially Nergal and Ereshkigal. It's very important on the naming of deities in comparison to theologies today, because in these, a single god name is seen as plural. Also, the names of Nergal is interchangeable with another deity, and we'll see that. So hang in there. Thanks for coming along. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.